Oh my god. I think we're live.
Amazing.
Hello, world.
Hello, world, indeed. Um, Ladies, gentlemen, and those divine beings that transcend the binary, I want to welcome you tonight to something a little bit different than I think some of us have been doing. Definitely different than what I'm normally doing on a Saturday night, but different in the best way. I want to welcome you to Chimeriad. I want to welcome you to this Fate core game and introduce you to the fantastic people we will be seeing this evening. And let's start. Let's go clockwise. Let's start with Sphinx. How you doing?
Just an introduction.
Yeah, just a basic introduction. You can the names for your characters are there, so you could probably give a pronunciation because I know that we are going to have a fun time with that for the captions.
What's going on? I'm Sphinx or Ryan. He, him. I'm gonna be playing Rezu. Also he, him. A crystal folk jeweler.
All right, Bailey.
Hi. This is my first stream. My name's Bailey. My character's name is Dr. Usefka Yana. A lot of people don't really know how to say her first name, so Dr. Yana is fine. I should have paid attention to what other people were saying. I'm a TTRPG maker, and yeah, I'm excited to play. I haven't played Fate before, so.
Very exciting. Pronouns for your character.
Oh yes, I'm she/Fae, and my character's pronouns are she/her.
All right. Tori?
I had to unmute myself. Yes, hello. My name is Tori. I am found all over the internet at that nerd Tori. And tonight I am playing Tamsin, who is a wandering fencer for hire, and that's all anybody really has to know about her. She uses she, her pronouns. I use they, them pronouns. That's probably going to be confusing. It's fine if you screw anybody's up. For me, personally. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is my first Fate game as well.
All right. And Snarf?
I'm Solid Snarf. Call me Snarf for short. He, him. I'll be playing Halsey. He's a meteorite hunter that picks up odd jobs around wherever he's traveling to facilitate his hobby.
All right. And I should probably introduce myself. I am Ark. I will be playing everyone else. Giving you a little slice of the world. Before we get started, though, I do want to talk about the system that we're using briefly. We are going to be using Fate Core with a little bit of extra. I'll talk about the extras when they become relevant. Fate Core has a lot of things in common with your Powered by the Apocalypse games. It's a more narrative-driven game. While there are numbers and stats and things to keep track of, it is not the main focus. This is a system that really brings the characters out more so than whatever is written on their character sheet. I am perfectly fine if people in chat want to ask any questions. Some of the players are new to Fate. I'm imagining some of the viewers are also going to be new to Fate as well. Feel free to ask questions about how things work. The biggest thing about Fate that's different than other stuff is that they use fudge dice. And if you've never seen fudge dice before, they are these little dice that have pluses and minuses on them. Very cool. For Fate specifically, you will roll 4 of them. They look like this. You roll 4 of them, and you'll get a value somewhere between +4 and -4. Numbers do not generally get to be too large in Fate as well, so when you see somebody roll like a 4 or a 5, they are knocking it out of the park. And if you see something closer to a double-digit number, that person has done something tremendous. And as for the rest, you'll find out a little bit more about that as we go through the game. But without further ado, I'd like to get started with said game. It is the 9th week of summer. The cycle of heat, sweltering nights, sun-baked days, very quick summer storms that dry up almost as quickly as they arrive, has started to wane ever so slightly. Those late summer insects that just seem to spring out of nowhere are at their thickest in these huge clouds that can sometimes be seen from a couple dozen feet away. They're so large. Some of the fish have started to make their way back to their nesting grounds to lay eggs and then find some place to be for the winter months. It feels in a lot of ways like it should be almost the perfect time of year. Warm without being as warm as it's been. And a relaxation that just lingers in the memory. But memory is a fickle thing. Memory is something that sometimes slips through your fingers if you aren't careful with it. Memory is the focus of a lot at this moment. Long-term memories are the things that are foundations for who you are as a person in many respects. Not all, but some. But what happens when those memories are taken from you? What happens when what you know is only what's happened in the past few days, perhaps the past few weeks? It's a question the young person wearing worn but once fine gray clothing ponders, thinking back through the haze, sounds, sights that they've only recently been reacquainted with. And as this young person looks on, they think about some of the things that they heard from others. But that happened after. Something came before that. A crash, a rumbling, the shouting of people, injuries, stretchers. Miners being carried back. It was during the third shift. When the accident happened. It was just a routine stint when the ceiling caved in. The miners, unfortunately, were not unaccustomed to such things. They'd shored up the area that they were working in and expected that it would hold at least for a little bit. The cave-in was unexpected, and that was the major story that most people heard about King's Mine and Kingslake. But more quietly, there were calls put out. Lots of equipment was put in a position that it wasn't supposed to be in, got damaged. Lots of people were injured. A young person in strange gray clothing was found someplace they weren't supposed to be. That was 3 weeks ago. I would like for everyone to roll me just a straight roll.
First roll of the campaign.
First roll of the campaign.
Poor.
4?
Oh, wow.
Poor.
Oh, poor. Oh,
The
Oh.
opposite of that.
0.
I got all plus signs.
okay.
I rolled a 2.
These are my
Okay.
partner's fudge dice, so I think they're blessed.
Indeed. All right. Wow. Well,
So I got a -1 in case that was confusing because it's all poor, I guess.
yeah. You can give either the rank or the plus if you want to, whichever one's easier for you.
I have the memory of a goldfish, so I'm just going to tell you how many plus and minus signs I get.
All right. So, first person to arrive at the King's Mine is as you would expect. If a place does something it's not supposed to do, it's got to be sabotage. And if it's sabotage, you need to figure out who did it. But before you can call in a specialist, probably need to make sure it doesn't happen again. What brought Tamsin to King's Mine?
So, I think Tamsin, anytime that she hears about something bad happening in the world, if she doesn't already have something going on, she's like, well, I can probably get a job over there because it's either going to be trying to help mitigate the situation or, people with money sometimes when something bad happens in their area start feeling antsy and unsafe and they want somebody who has a sword.
Absolutely. They are willing to pay you a pretty good rate. And it's kind of all hands on deck, at least for the first few days. Thanks to a very quick tip, Tamsin was able to get in there about as early as anybody, which is good, because it meant that you were one of the few who was able to secure a job. Maybe 2 days after your arrival is when you found out that they had done some investigation. It did not seem to be a result of foul play. And so while they didn't really want to keep anybody extra around, they had already signed your contract. So you were there for a month getting paid. And they could not necessarily force you to do any mining work, but they did put you on guard duty, make sure they got their money's worth.
I think that would somewhat irritate Tamsin. She likes to be a little bit more actively moving and shaking at any given moment. But a paycheck's a paycheck, and you could probably use it right about now.
Absolutely. Where would Tamsin have spent most of her time when she wasn't
When she wasn't what?
on the clock, when she wasn't given a job to do?
I think probably just wherever the locals hang out, always trying to sniff out leads for where another good place to visit might.
All right.
So if it's like a tavern, a bookstore, whatever the third place in this town.
Yes. Very much so. The third place in this town is essentially its only tavern. Paro's, it's called. P-A-R-O-H apostrophe S. It's named after the current owner's father, who himself was named after his grandfather before him. And his grandfather had opened up this establishment many, many, many years ago in place of the tavern that had been there before that. And this was the only place in town to get drunk, so that's where most people went. Because if you've never been in a very labor-intensive job, you need a release. And from time to time, you'll get people coming in and out. Most of the people there, I would say 99% of the people there, are all going to be other miners, other people working in the mines. And each of them has their own separate stories, their own separate things. One of them was a little bit more outgoing than others, however. Foss. Foss was a sort of medium height man with he, him pronouns, with a slim build. Doesn't really look to be the type to be a miner per se. It looks like he'd be better suited for carving or whittling, something that uses his manual dexterity very well. But Foss likes to talk about how he was only supposed to be here for a couple hours to clear off a debt, and that was years ago. But he is still the same person who likes to check in on everybody. And was probably the first person to ask Tamsin about her story. So what brings you to this place, huh?
Just looking for work. Like anybody else?
Yeah, but what kind of work? Swinging a pick? Swinging a sword?
Yeah, that one. Tamsin would sort of gesture towards the fairly ornate rapier that she is never ever seen without. The kind of object that's always on her to the point where people would probably joke that she sleeps with it, and she does.
Skinny thing.
Sometimes skinny ones you have to watch.
You understand. I like that. Can I buy you a drink?
Sure, just one.
All right. I would say at least 3 drinks for Foss. I'm not sure how many it would be for Tamsin, but 3 drinks in for Foss, who you found out was already a drink or 2 in before he talked to you.
Tamsin's actually a bit of a lightweight, so she just nurses the one drink the whole night.
Good to know. Yeah, and Foss spends some time just kind of asking, okay, well, so they brought you in here to use that skinny little thing. What are you supposed to be using it on?
Well, when I got the tip that stuff was going down here, I thought maybe there'd been some kind of attack on the mine. Something interesting. But come to find out, of course, as we all know, wasn't any kind of sabotage, so now they're just paying me to play guard duty, I guess. I'll be done in 2 weeks.
All right. Well, count yourself lucky then.
How did you end up staying here so much longer than you intended?
Let's just say the people who normally do your job don't have a sense of humor.
Doesn't surprise me.
Step on a guy's shoe, all of a sudden it's assault. Could pay a fine or work it off. You know how it is.
Yep, fortunately.
Break a pick, that's money. Pay it off or work it off. And so on and so forth.
Seems to be the story for most folks here, I've learned.
Yeah. Well, and you can see Foss is kind of lowering his voice a little bit, which is not low enough for it to be a true whisper, but lower than what it was. He's working on it. He says, "Can I tell you something?"
Yeah.
I think this place is cursed.
Tamsin sort of sits back like, oh, I was hoping to get something interesting, like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. I'm serious. This place is cursed. Okay?
Do you mean like in the literary allegory sense and that it's like terrible place to be? Or
It's definitely a terrible place to be. But there are terrible
are you talking about
places to be.
magic?
This is magic is something that people do. This is not what people do. I'm serious. Every full moon, without fail, something breaks. And because of the schedule, I'm always working on the full moon. Something always breaks when I'm there.
I mean, it's mine, Foss. Things break in mines.
Not like this. Big things, expensive things, sturdy things.
And it's
A full
always
moon
a full
coming up.
moon?
It's always on a full moon, yes.
It's not just like one person being particularly clumsy. Sort of looks at him.
Don't look at me like that. I don't drink on the job, okay?
Say you did. I'm just, faulty equipment or clumsy workers is a little bit of a more logical explanation than a full moon curse.
I'm all right. Just let you know, you've got like 3 weeks till the full moon pulls in. You know, I don't know what you're gonna do then. You'll see. You'll see. I'll tell you what. Join me on the full moon. You'll see. I'll show you.
Well, I mean, probably be working anyway, so I guess I'll be there, but you're not making it particularly enticing.
Can I entice you with another one of these, maybe?
I'm actually so good. I've got so much of this drink left.
Oh. Okay, sure. And so over 3-week period that you're there, leading up to the full moon, Foss is very careful to check in with you, kind of give you a little wink. He's very particular about letting you know every single time the phases of the moon shift just a little bit.
Tamsin is humoring him, but clearly not think much of this.
Absolutely. He does ask you, however, in about a week, if you have any information about fancy new guy who just showed up. Well, he thinks it's a guy. He didn't actually ask him anything yet. And the person in question is Sphinx. Introduce us to the person in question.
Well, Rezu is a crystal folk, like I said before, and essentially people made of hard light with a crystal core. And he has kind of a translucent blue, dark blue color to his body. His normal trade is gem cutting, jewelry making, things like that. Does pretty good for himself. Stands about 6 feet. Usually wears vest, short sleeve shirt. Pretty well made but well worn. Pants, shoes, all black. With a kind of mahogany shirt underneath the vest. And yeah, that's pretty much Reizu.
It's a figure that not many people have seen before. Although there are a few, I suppose more than a few lifers, as they tend to end up being called, people who just can't seem to clear their debt no matter what, just conveniently. The mine's a good way for them to do that. And I think Reizu does recognize at least one or two of them by face, probably not so much by name.
Yeah, I'd say Reizu probably comes here regularly. Cause when he's not working, he probably makes his way over here to teach jewelry making to people to help them when they've cleared their debt, so they don't end up back here.
Yeah.
It's because he finds that teaching kind of helps him improve, so might as well be productive with it.
That makes perfect sense. And the owners of the mine do have a tendency of calling him in when they find something that they think is particularly useful, aka particularly lucrative for them. And it's on one of these trips during the summer. Would be the 7th week of summer that he comes in for one of these trips and finds that things are a little bit there's a tenseness in the air. I think that he notices. You can tell that there are a lot of whispers, a lot of hushed conversations, and a caginess, a sort of there's something that's not being said when he meets with his usual people. The conversations that you have tend to be done with one of the chiefs of with specifically the chief of production, as he's called. It's a older man, graying beard that he keeps very well trimmed to a point, with what looks to be horns running back along his head that look like antlers. This man also uses he/him pronouns, and you recognize this man as being different than the last time you saw him. You had seen him. Usually, he's the person that you interact with, and he has these conversations with you. These very long, sort of drawn out conversations. The kind of things where someone desperately wants you to see them as being knowledgeable or interesting or someone to be taken seriously, and he is not, but desperately wants that, and so he'll kind of constantly engage you in conversation, pull you off to the side, ask you questions. It's half testing and half trying to show off about what you know about cloudiness and gemstones or the proper sort of material for fitting pieces. And he always seems to walk away not quite satisfied with his performance during those times. Of course, back then, the last time you had seen him, the horns weren't there. And this time, as you look upon the sort of stout but older form of Eris, you can see that he looks at you and seems a little bit sheepish, a little, kind of unsure. He kind of reaches up and touches his hair and kind of tries to shift it a little bit around the horns, and he says, "Oh, good to see you, Rezu."
Always. Yeah. The thing is, Rezu likes to play cards, even though he's not much of a gambler. So I assume when they regularly meet, he'll like break out a pack of cards, and so he just starts.
Mm-hmm.
How you been?
Oh, well, I went on a long walk. I've got horns now.
That's how it works. You figured anything out?
Well, I guess it's okay to be outside sometimes, but I don't like this. Like, they're. And he kind of points to them, and it's almost like somebody sort of streamlined a pair of antlers and just sent it straight back, but it still has a bunch of points coming off in various places. He's like, I can't get my pillow to stay in place anymore, and like they're like catching on it, so I have to like try. I need like a cap or something.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I know somebody who can help you with that.
yeah, you know somebody?
Yeah, Rezu will take out a strip of paper and write down a name and a location on the paper. He'll hand it to him. I think they might have something that'll help with that. Like I said, head covering that'll keep your pillow safe.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I'll be honest with you, it's been like 2 weeks. I still haven't adjusted. I've gone through like 5 pillows at this point, and I am this close to sleeping in a miner's helmet.
Yes, it's rough for a lot of people, I see. But there's a reason for it.
Yeah, I guess so, but I mean, I could have learned this. I need the horns though. What do I do with these?
Yeah, you never know what they'll turn out to be.
Maybe if I need to headbutt someone, sure, I guess. But
It is kind of dangerous out here.
yeah, well, mines are usually dangerous. You know that.
Yeah, I
Oh,
see that.
no more and no less dangerous than usual. Just I was out for maybe 2 weeks, and then came back, and everything was okay. Everything was fine. Not No more problems than usual. Just a little weirdness. A couple of pieces of machinery are malfunctioning. Because turns out you can't just drop rocks on things.
Maybe if things were more safe, there wouldn't be any malfunctions.
The mine is plenty safe. Everyone here knows exactly what they're supposed to do. We all have regulation equipment. We have regulation security gear. Everything that the guild requires is present. It is perfectly safe here. You know that.
You can have all the regulations you want, but when you add people to it, that's when problems start. Especially untrained people.
Oh, if they didn't want, they don't have to be here. I'm just pointing that out. They could. People are here because this is the best way for them to clear their debts. You don't force anybody to come or to stay.
Really. And he just keeps dealing out the cards.
This is, would you say this is a common thread of conversation between Reizu and Eris?
Yeah, I think they touch on it like every time, but mostly both just like kind of, I guess, almost laugh it off because there's not going to be a winner to this conversation.
Yeah. I would say though, roll me an empathy. You are looking to. Actually, I think I gotta roll this here. Oh. For the viewers, very important thing. My luck is terrible, so the players will be just fine.
It's very good for us.
Can confirm.
What does Reizu have for his empathy?
A 3 total. Will my
Okay.
stunt apply to this one or not? The jewelry makes the person.
I think yes. Actually, I would say definitely that's true because you do know, at least for Eris, he very much uses the jewelry that he wears as sort of a symbol of station. He does have.
Then that would be a 5.
All right. That is well beyond a success with style. For those people who are watching at home or wherever you're watching, there are usually 4 outcomes for any roll. There is going to be a failure if you roll under, tie if you tie, success if you roll over, and if you roll over by 3 or more, it's a success with style. In this case, this is a success with style. And you kind of pick up that something is wrong. Not like something small. Something big. Something very big is wrong. And you don't know what it is. But you get the feeling that it's something that Eris is not supposed to talk about. Because you did catch a point when he was talking where he just kind of, it seemed like he was about to say something and stopped himself. And usually during these conversations, you know Eris is an open book. He loves to talk about everything. He's trying to find a place where he can sort of one-up you. And you don't really see some of that today. It's missing.
You sure that's all that's on your mind?
I'm just trying to figure out how. It's the horns. It's the horns. I don't know what else to do with them. I was thinking like maybe have you ever worked on like maybe like some silver caps for the ends there, like
That'd be expensive.
Really? It's just one. It's like
I have to shape each one.
Okay.
But that doesn't seem to be why you're worried.
Look, man, I told you, it's just that. It's just the horns. It's hard to sleep. I'm always worried about whether or not I'm gonna roll over and inhale some goose feathers or something. It's not great. Um, and actually, oh, actually, I gotta go. Take care of something right now. I did ask somebody to get me a new pillow, and he offered to stitch up some of the old ones that got torn up as well. So I got to go see if he did that because I mean, my shift's over in like an hour or two, But it's nice catching up with you. I'll definitely check in with you, and maybe before you leave, just catch up, and we'll see if your class is for like 2 more weeks, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just about.
Okay.
Next job probably won't come anytime soon. So yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll catch up after then. I'll just make sure I got my sleep arrangements made, and I'll write up a letter and have it sent off.
Raisin's been just staring like dead into his eyes the whole time. Like, just yeah, I don't believe you kind of stare.
Yeah, I will send that letter off too. See if I can get like the thing made. And he's walking and talking. That sort of like yeah. I'll catch up to you. Yeah. Just he's good. He's good. And then once he gets to the doorway fully, like he breaks into like a power walk, maybe like a half step under a full out run. And I would say for maybe the next week or so, it's much more of the same. It's much more of the same. He waves, says hi, starts to bring up, the usual conversation, but it looks like he's watching a little bit more closely now. And at the moment that he thinks you're about to ask him some questions, he always has a job to take a look at, some product he has to go over.
Yeah, I think Riz will probably prod a bit, like his job requires a lot of trust from his clients because he handles a lot of expensive things and people like to keep things secret.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just trying to finesse the worry out of him.
Okay. I would say give me a rapport roll. And while that's happening, for our viewers, Fate also allows you to use your own skill list. They give you a set of 18 skills that have been added in. To get started with, I have included 3 others that I think would be relevant for this game. So, one of them is rapport, which is
3 total.
3 total. Okay. Yeah, I think at one point, probably, yeah, late in the week, after you first had that conversation with him, kind of going back and forth. At one moment, he's like, oh, I would love to discuss this, but I got to get out of here. I got to make some preparations for the investigator. He's coming in like 2 days. You understand?
You look like you're about to pop.
About to pop? Oh no, like Are they touching things? Like I would feel that. What do you mean pop?
What's going on?
Look, I'm just a little bit nervous because, we got an investigator who's coming by in a couple days, and I just, don't know what it's going to be. And I don't know if it's going to slow down production. You know how it is.
An investigator simply because of an accident in the mine.
I mean, there are big accidents and there are little accidents, and sometimes you don't know which size accident it is at first, and we just need somebody to take a look and see if everything is all right. That's it. That's all.
That sounds like bullshit.
Okay, look, what do you want from me, man? I can't tell you anything, okay? Just you gotta stop asking, okay?
And Razor will pause for a minute because he knows secrecy from the standpoint of people with power. Is this something that could get you canceled? And he
Canceled. I wasn't even here when it happened. I was on the long walk.
He puts special emphasis on the word canceled, like fine them.
I personally, I am gonna be just fine. Okay. I'll be fine. Okay? There is no problem at the King's Mine. Okay. There's no problem for me. It's just that, sometimes
There's a lot of problems with this place. Is this one going to be a problem for you?
not gonna, I mean, anything that is a problem for the mine is technically a problem for me. I don't want it to be bad. I like my job. I make good money, and I can do what I gotta do. It's a nice job, but if things aren't great at the mine for whatever reason, then that kind of blows back on me because I'm management. So they don't get it, right? They don't. These little guys, these lifers, they just have their petty little debts, and they come and they go and they do whatever they do, and they half of them can't even hold a pickaxe over their head. But
and yet you put them to work.
Somebody's got to put them to work. Okay, that's what they came for.
You pay people to stand around all the time. You could pay them to do that.
I don't pay anybody to stand around. Everyone is working when I'm out there. Very strict production deadlines that I give them. They know what the deal is.
Okay.
If they're not meeting those deadlines, it's that layabout's fault.
Really?
Yeah, really. Razor, you know what layabout. You know what layabout he's referring to. Eris is the chief of production. He oversees the actual things that are taken out of the ground, where they go, how quickly they come out of the ground. But as for personnel, he always butts heads with Rhea. Rhea, who uses she, her pronouns, is the chief of mining operations. She is the one who does the scheduling, both for the miners themselves as well as the managers who oversee them. And she's constantly, according to him anyway, she is constantly getting in his way. She is constantly making sure that X number of breaks need to happen. at certain times, or that they stick to very specific lunch dinner schedules. He's constantly complaining about how she could very easily increase production and doesn't.
So,
Constantly calls her lazy for it.
so Eris, you want me to believe that increasing production on a bunch of unskilled workers is gonna help the mine?
They are. How much skill do you need to swing a pickaxe, huh?
I don't see you out there.
That's because it takes skill to manage people, okay? I can do what they do. They can't do what I do.
And yet production isn't increasing.
Because they are not doing what I want them to do. I thought you of all people would understand. You work for yourself. You're a self-made man. You pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. No one gave anything to you. You work hard. You understand.
And Grace will pull out a dagger from his hilt. It's something that Eris probably seen before. And it's a thin dagger made of where the blade is made of amethyst, completely carved. And he'll show it to him. Yeah, there's no bootstraps with quality work.
That's what I always say. But they don't like to listen to me, okay?
They don't want to be here.
All I'm saying is, look, I don't know what she's going to tell this investigator. I don't know what kind of lies and slander they're going to try to pin on me. I wasn't even here at the time, okay? I was on my walk. I came back with horns and a bunch of problems, okay?
Then why are you so nervous?
I don't know what she's going to say to this investigator. I don't know how much jurisdiction he has.
Does Reason know Rhea enough to know if she's a liar?
Roll me. No, you don't have to roll. I think that you know that both of them have their own problems, but lying is not one that she has.
You know, one thing that this job has taught me is how to read people. People of high standing and people of low standing. I've never seen Rhea lie to me before, or about anyone else.
She lies to me all the time.
You have continually lied to me over the last week.
I have simply maintained the privacy of King's mine interests. That is it. I am not required to share every piece of the machinery that makes this operation run with you, okay?
And you're projecting all that fear and insecurity onto her.
I don't have to deal with this. I don't have to deal with this. I'm leaving.
You were winning. He looks at the cards.
He was indeed winning by a bit. And so I think over the next 2 days, while he's waiting for this investigator to come in.
Yeah, at this point, Reason's just teasing him at this point.
And he doesn't seem to appreciate it. He doesn't get the jokes. He doesn't think that they're funny. Very much looking at you like, oh, are you siding with them? And then the 2 days are up. And the investigator arrives. Snarf. Who is this investigator?
Ooh. His name's Halsey. He wears a vest, white button-up shirt, rolled up sleeves, black pants, boots, gun on his side, hat on his head, and he wears a bandana across his face. On his arms, you'll see maybe some embedded material of different colors. And he has striking green eyes. Yeah. He is, overall, his main objective hobby is meteorite hunter. And he does odd jobs along his travels to facilitate his hobby.
And one of those odd jobs involves being sort of an additional, like, second pair of eyes for the guild. The guild isn't simply just a single guild. Rather, the guild is a collection of smaller guilds that have sort of stacked on top of each other to form a single unit that negotiates with the people, for the people in general. And so anytime that there are major issues in one place, the guild will usually look into it to make sure that regulations are being followed. However, the last time that the investigator was here, some 2 weeks ago at this point, the investigator didn't seem convinced that they were being told everything. And so you have done a little bit of investigation work in the past, so we're given the call to try and verify some of these claims. As a third party, they're hoping that you will be able to get a little bit of information out of them that they wouldn't be able to otherwise, or pick up on some things that they would have missed because they're used to sending the same people to inspect over and over again. And so because of that, Halsey is directed by a few of the miners towards the management offices, which are in a pretty stout wooden building directly outside of the mines proper. And once you get inside for the meeting, you can see that there are 3 people there. One of them is a somewhat grumpy looking man who's kind of fussing a little bit with a ring that he has on his finger, kind of turning it over and over again nervously as you walk in. Another is a much larger woman with a sort of like walnut complexion skin and much larger. She's got maybe 6 or so inches on the smaller man. Very much dressed for work. Shirt with the sleeves rolled up, very similar to Halsey himself. Suspenders, keeping everything in place. And you can see that there's like a tool belt that she seems to have on her side, and like a little whistle is hanging from her neck on a string where a necklace would be otherwise. And she's just kind of sitting there with her arms folded, just kind of waiting as you come in. And the third person uses they, them pronouns. And is just, it seems to be just a little old lady. Like, at first, they look like a little old lady. But this person, the best way to describe this. This person has a sort of. They're wearing a dress, but it doesn't look to be like a dress for a ball or for an event. It seems to be more like kind of like a work apron that has just kind of been extended down as low as dress would be. And they are also kind of sitting a little bit nervously in a chair when you open the door and come in. The man with the horns and the person in sort of that, like, kind of a work frock, I guess would be the best way to describe it, maybe. They both stand up. The third person, the larger woman, is sitting on a desk, just kind of gives a nod as you come in. And the man with the horns walks over and extends a hand and says, "You're the investigator, right?"
Yes, my name's Halsey.
Halsey, nice to meet you. I'm Eris. I am the chief of production here at the King's Mine, and these are my coworkers. This is Rhea, and he points to the larger woman, who gives a nod, and you can see she's got maybe shoulder-length hair. That's sort of like a dark brown as well, but it's tied back in a ponytail, and you see just like a couple of strands fall off as she gives like a little bit more vigorous of a nod. And then they say, and this is Polly. Polly was the manager on shift at the time that the incident happened. So we are obviously, we here at the mine would like to cooperate with whatever you need for this investigation. We have ensured that everything here has been running as per the guild's wishes for many, many, many years now. And there's the occasional misunderstanding where they think that we're doing something we're not, but we usually get it smoothed out at the end. And we've already talked to the investigator and shared everything that we knew, but you are welcome to ask us any questions you would like to.
Right. I'm here just to do our due diligence. Second pair of eyes can't hurt.
Absolutely.
Well, if you could, I'd like to talk to all three of you individually. So if two of you can step outside.
Absolutely. Who do you want to talk to?
The old lady. Manager on shift.
Yes. Polly. Polly uses they them pronouns. But yeah, Polly, they can let you know what's going on there. And I mean, I don't even think you really need to talk to me. I was on my walk at the time. I came back 2 weeks or so after the incident, and the horns are new. Supposed to be getting like a thing, like a friend of mine suggested a guy, or was it a guy? So suggested somebody to
Excuse me.
get me a.
I don't want to waste your time any more than I have to. If you two can please step outside, and I'll call you in one at a time.
Okay. All right. And you can see that Eris very, very quickly, very hurriedly skitters out, and is followed by Rhea, who stands up fully and then walks off, and as she's leaving, puts a hand on Polly's shoulder and gives a little squeeze, and then walks out.
I forgot to mention, but I was wearing a poncho as I was traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I remove the poncho, pull up a chair, in front of Paulie.
Mm-hmm. Polly's currently standing.
Oh, please sit. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
So, could you tell me in your own words what happened exactly?
Yes, we were working in a newer section of the mine. We had checked 2 to 3 days before to make sure that all of the supports were in place. And they were, so we thought it would be okay to use some of the. We have this. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really understand this contraption. It's a weird looking thing. But it does something that makes it easier. I guess it sort of cracks the rock in a way, and in cracking the rock, it makes it easier for us to uh, remove certain sections, and so we did that. Uh, and everything was going well, and then the, all of a sudden there was this huge crash, and then everything started to shake a little bit and started to come down, and we were um, well, I was doing a walkthrough at the time, and then I heard this crash, and when we went in there, we saw that the ceiling had caved in. There were a few people um, who were trapped under some of the rock, and we spent about 5 hours clearing it before we could get to them. And then we were. I'm sorry, I'm not used to talking.
Take your time. Take your time.
Thank you. It's a little stuffy in here. Can I open the window? Is that okay?
Of course, yes.
Okay. And she, not she. They walk over to the um window where there's sort of like swinging shutters, and unlatches them, and like pushes out and sticks their head out. You can see them kind of look to the left and just breathe deeply, and um, then they sit back down where they were before and say, "Thank you, I appreciate that."
Can I look out the window to the left quickly?
Uh, make me an make me a notice. Make me a notice.
2.
You see just the faintest tip of some horns going back around the other side of the backside of the office.
Is there a door on the back side of the office?
There is no door. The door is not too far away from the window. That was or the window that was just opened up.
Could there be a listening hole? Can I look on that side of the wall?
It's you imagine that if somebody perhaps had left and stood right next to the window, they probably could have heard everything that was being said.
Okay. I see.
Do you want me to continue?
I get up real close to Paulie and I whisper in their ear. If you don't mind, is your manager listening to us right now? Just nod.
You can see Polly looks out the window, and then they just
Very low in their ear. Is everything that you said currently the way it happened? Nod. Is there any other important detail that you might have left out?
What kind of tone is Halsey trying to set? Is Halsey playing good cop? Welcome back, y'all. Folks, I hope you all had a good break. I hope you took care of yourselves. Stuff in the things, whatever order tickles your fancy. But I believe we were in the middle of a conversation when we left. Halsey, I believe, was asking some questions of Polly, the night shift manager on duty at the time of the incident 2 weeks ago.
Right. I leaned in for a whisper, said, is there anything you're not telling me that you want to share?
No.
Is the manager listening to us currently? Want me to close the window? All right. I close the window and I pull my chair up closer to Polly and I say, just, you're not in trouble. We're not closing down the mine. Just tell me what happened.
Okay. Okay. Well, it was like I said before. We thought it was okay, and we used the contraption the way it's supposed to be used, and it's worked just fine all the time. And then there was the cave-in, and it took us about 5 hours to get people out. And we did. We got everybody out, but it looked like there was maybe another cave or a chamber of something. It looked like it maybe somebody carved it in there, but it's been buried, so I don't know. I didn't see any other. I didn't look inside. I didn't want to go in, but some of the other miners went in and they said that there was space in the back, and it looks pretty big from what they said. And they said that there was a kid back there, and I don't know. And they brought this kid out, and they were wearing these gray clothes. Their hair is kind of long and matted. And looks like their fingernails could use a trim. I don't know how long they've been out or wandering or not where they're supposed to be, but they found them and brought them out. And before I knew it, everybody knew. Everybody was talking about it. And Rhea, stopped operations for the day, and then we took a bunch of the miners who were injured and put them in the infirmary, and the 3 of them didn't make it. It was they looked like they should have made it. It was mostly leg injuries, but I guess the injuries were, I guess they started to bleed out, and then they didn't make it. I think only the first person that got pulled out made it, and then 3 others in the back didn't. And
They made it out of the rubble, but succumbed to their injuries afterwards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, obviously, we close that section off. We haven't. That was
Where's the child now?
the child still in the infirmary. Um,
Are they conscious?
I don't know. I haven't been over there. Didn't really want to go over there.
All right. It's okay, Paulie. It's not your fault. It was an accident. All right. Bring the other two in on your way out.
Who do you want to come in?
Bring in Rhea.
Okay. And Polly kind of spends a lot of that time sort of not looking directly at Halsey. Most of it's kind of smoothing out their like work frock. And then finally they stand up after a little bit, and kind of give a quick little bow and shuffle out of the room. And then Rhea comes in afterward.
I just look out the door to make sure Paulie gets out uninterrupted by Eris.
Yeah, if you stick your head out the door, you can see that Eris is actually like starting to kind of like walk after Polly. But when the door, with the sound of the door, he kind of looks and he's like, "Oh, yeah. I just wanted to make sure she was
You're
okay."
up next. You're up next. Stay here, please.
Yeah, I that's good. I can stay here. That's fine. Sure. And he just kind of shuffles over, and stands like almost like stock still, almost comically still, by the door when you close it. And you can see Rhea is smirking a little bit as we get some raids. Thank you so much, everybody from Bard Rock Cafe stream. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
the raid. Much appreciated. So, Rhea is very quick to take the same seat that she had, sitting on the desk. Kind of sits back and they cross their arms and say, "Okay,
All
what do you
right.
want to know?"
The three people that succumbed to their injuries. What's your take on it?
Take on it?
Yeah.
Should have gotten them out of there faster.
About 5 hours, right? Okay. And from what I understand, the previous investigator said they just had leg injuries, and then a few days later they succumbed to them.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't find that odd? That it looks like they were going to make it and then they didn't?
I can tell you that people get injured all the time. It is a mine. There's a lot of very dangerous, very heavy equipment. Don't know what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. That being said, it my understanding from the miners who pulled them out was that none of the supports gave way, and that's what came down on them. So it was a crushing force. I don't know how they managed to bleed out from something like that,
Okay.
but it can happen. I wasn't there myself. I usually do a 10-hour shift, which will cover the last 2 hours of the morning shift, all of the afternoon shift, and the first 2 hours of the evening shift. This happened around midnight, so I was in bed for maybe 2 hours at the time that it happened.
All right. Your overall duty is the health and safety of the workers, right?
Paramount, yes.
Okay. Would you say that you're usually at odds on, I don't know, the manager's productivity
Um,
quotas?
you would certainly love to increase productivity, that's for sure. But the guild has laid down some rules. We follow them.
Okay. The kid.
Yeah.
Are
Not
they
one of mine.
awake? Right. Are they awake?
Don't think so. Not last I heard.
Okay. Who's looking over them?
They're in the infirmary.
All right. Do I need to hear anything the manager has to say?
That's for you to decide, not me.
All right. Stay close. Bring them in.
And Rhea starts to get up and then sits back down and says, "What'd you say to Polly?"
She did nothing wrong. Wasn't her fault. Their fault.
Uh, and then, and then Rhea leaves and steps out of the door and immediately, like, her head like spins to the left, and then they say, "Get in there, hurry up." And you can kind of hear Eris like futzing about outside. It's like, "Hey, excuse me, you can't talk to me like that. Who do
I
you
go
think you
out.
are?"
What are you doing?
I,
You say
I'm
get
I'm
in here.
com- okay. I'm coming. Look, man, I'm talking to my coworker. Okay, we both have things we need to do. And he closes the door and sits down and says, "Okay, well, I believe you've probably already gotten everything you need from the others, so let me know what you need."
You weren't here during the accident?
I was not. I was
Okay. I'm
on.
not going to shut down your mind.
Okay, well, I didn't think you were going to. We, of course, are doing everything
Right.
in our power.
I want to see the kid, though.
Uh, the child. Well,
All right. So take me down to the infirmary.
why? Why didn't you could have just asked? Right? You didn't need to call me in for that.
You're the manager.
I am the manager of production. Ray is the manager of the people, and this child is neither a product nor one of our people.
All right. Next time, don't try to hide anything. We're very amenable over at the guild. We
Hide.
prefer not to have the runaround. All right. There wouldn't have been a need for a second investigator if you've been straightforward with the first one. You wasted time, productivity, and guild money.
To have one of the workers escort you down if all you want to do is see the child. I don't think you really need me to do that.
I told Ray to stay by. She'll take me.
Is that it? You just wanted to tell me about productivity? Like it isn't my job?
Have a nice day.
And I think at that, Eris just kind of gets up in a bit of a huff. and storms out of the room.
I head outside.
And Ray is standing there and just kind of looks at you and just, very quietly just says,
Look at her. I have a mask on, but you can see a smile creep up. Go.
it hits the eyes, I know. Okay, well.
Take me to the kid.
And indeed, you are taken to the child. The child is no longer wearing the gray clothing that they were in. They've been instead switched over to a sort of like a rough, like kind of brown linen gown, and are propped up in bed, kind of elevated with some pillows just to keep their head up a little bit higher than their feet, but otherwise seems to be sleeping. And as soon as you step inside, you can see that there is a very, very small person, someone who's maybe 4 feet tall, sitting in a chair that has a little step stool for it. Like, it's a pretty high chair, but there's a little step stool to help them get into the chair that's kind of pulled over to the side, and you can see that they just like hop straight down as soon as you come in. Do you?
Question.
Yes.
Were any of these 3 managers here when I was here?
Polly is new. Polly wasn't here, but Rhea and Eris have been working at this mine for quite some time.
And I assume
years.
they don't recognize me.
They do not recognize you now.
All right. Sorry. Continue.
Is Rhea in the lead?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So Rhea comes through the door first, and you can see this little person hops out of the chair and starts to say, "Oh, okay, good. You're done with the investigator. Hi, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
You are the investigator, yes?
Yes. Do I know this person?
Yes. You have also met this person you are familiar with. This is Carter. Carter uses he, they pronouns, spelled the way that you think Carter is spelled.
And what are they in charge of the infirmary?
Yes, Carter is the sort of the surgeon is a very, very generous term. Carter is mostly good at putting bandages on shallow wounds, not nearly as good at treating deeper wounds, but as far as you know, has been very, very lucky, or is just skilled enough to keep anybody from being permanently injured. At least as of the last time that you were here.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I have a strange patient in the bed here, but
I'm gonna go check on him. And then,
yes.
I have some questions for you afterwards.
Sure. Right this way. And you can already see the child in the bed. They're in sort of, so Carter's in sort of like an ante room, but the door is open, and you can see that in the very first bed by the door is this child. Yeah. So they've been asleep for the time that we've seen them. I'm not sure if they suffered a nasty bump or if something else happened.
When you found them, did they walk out of the mines or were they unconscious?
Oh no, this child looks like they've barely walked anywhere in quite some time.
Can I do a once over
Mm-hmm.
to see if I see any familiarity of the situation?
Yes. Make me a medicine check. A medicine check. And yeah, just make me a medicine check for right now.
1.
This
I don't
child
think
is
I don't think
unconscious.
I don't think I have medicine. Hold on. Where's my stuff?
It's been scattered to the winds.
Yeah, I don't have medicine. Okay.
Yeah, you do not. It looks like a child who's asleep. But somewhere in the back of your mind, more like the pit of your stomach, you can kind of feel uh, like a voice is telling you that's not good. It's a loud voice.
I turned to, what was their name?
Carter?
Carter. The other 3 patients, they bled out
Yeah, nasty business about that, I'm afraid.
with leg injuries. I already sussed out all the information from the other 3. It's fine.
Yes, some of the beams came down, and those beams came down, and then all of that rubble just came down on top of them. And legs got really badly cut up. It looked like it was going to be okay, but it seems like some of their wounds didn't really close up the way that they would have wanted to. It's really a shame. Really a shame.
A shame. Can I try to suss out, are they nonchalant about this, or is it just their current tone?
Go ahead and give me. Go ahead and give me an empathy. Yes.
4.
Ooh. That that's a success with style. You pick up 2 things. One thing you pick up is that this does not seem like the kind of person who should be nonchalant about this in the way that they're nonchalant. But with that style, I think that Halsey also picks up that there's a little bit of tension coming off of Maria as well. Some displeasure, like sort of like as if something is not right here.
Right. And I've known Carter from before. Are they as nonchalant as they usually are? Or
Carter
they seem
usually,
like their personality flipped?
if you had to wager, you would say that Carter is not as invested as you would hope for a medical professional, but this seems almost callous even for somebody who's not really like this is imagine a school nurse who doesn't enjoy being a school nurse. That's very much the vibe you get from Carter. But usually, even that school nurse would be concerned if a kid came in with some very serious injuries. You're not getting that concern on Carter right now.
Okay. And about the personality flip from when I used to know them.
The personality is about the same, but
Even
something
more so.
something's off here. Yeah.
All right. Turn to Rhea. Anything else you want to add?
Nothing I want to add.
All right. Can you take me? Is the spot where the child was found open, or is it collapsed?
It is not open right now. We have it sealed off. We don't know what destabilized it, and I don't want a single person anywhere near it.
Hmm. All right. Hmm.
If you'd like, we can work on shoring things up. It might take us a couple days, maybe a week, to do that. And then we can give you a tour of that spot if you really want to.
Yes, I think I'll be around for a little while. Unless you have something else you want to tell me.
Nothing else to say besides what you've asked me.
Well, I thought this would be quick. Oh well.
Yeah. And I think for about the next week, it feels an awful lot like this for Halsey. A lot of getting the runaround, a lot of people saying that this is what they're up to.
Any lifers that might recognize me that I can talk to?
So you do know Foss. Foss is probably one of the longest lifers who's been there. The thing about lifers is that a lot of them, like a lot of them, end up eventually leaving when it becomes clear that there's no way they're going to be able to make their way out. And a lot of times they'll leave and try and do something else, but then they come back because it's hard to do anything else. The mind will take you regardless of your profession, your skill, your ethos. They will accept your hands and your shoulders and whatever your muscles can do for them. So I think the lifers that were around at the time that Halsey was there, aside from Foss, really aren't there right now.
There is one survivor, right?
There is one survivor, yes.
I'm gonna follow up with him when I get the chance.
All right. One survivor is a younger man named Garrett. And Garrett, every time you ask about Garrett, Garrett seems to be either on a different shift or seems to be out drinking. A lot of people are claiming, like, hey, you're like, yeah, I just saw him, but no one seems to be able to pin down exactly where Garrett is. He's not currently on any of the schedules because he recently came off of his injury, so they're giving him some time off because of that. And then finally, when you feel like you should have been able to pin down where Garrett was, it's at the end of that week that you're there. Interestingly enough, Garrett seems to have gotten the call and departed on the boat. And you're there at roughly the time that the boat is returning, and you find out that Garrett left the day before. So the boats only come in and out once a day. You've heard rumors that there's like another backup boat someplace, but as far as you know, there's only one boat that comes in and out of here from Kings Lake back to the rest of the valley. And so you're kind of standing there as a couple of people disembark. Most of them are other people who have been dealt a bad hand and found this is the easiest way to kind of work off whatever debt they had. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. Along with them, however, you do see two other people. The first person, well, Bailey, describe the first person to me.
I will. I have a quick question though. Are we wrapping in 30 minutes or what are we thinking?
We are aiming to wrap in 30 minutes.
Okay, cool. I will be fast then. You see a fairly tall woman. She's about 6 foot, 6'3" in heels, which she's definitely wearing. She's dressed very professionally. She's a doctor. From in our like real world, she would be described as Asian. Like she looks Asian. That's not really a thing in our world. And yeah, she's dressed very nicely, not just professionally, and has a very large, like, steel briefcase box that she carries around, um, equipment or something like that.
Okay. Um, when this person steps off, where is she headed? Why does she find herself here? Why is this doctor?
I have a question for you, Ark. Potentially, would she have been called in to do an autopsy?
I think it makes perfect sense that the guild would not only not trust that the accident happened the way that it did, but they also don't trust the fact that all of the miners who were involved in the accident have also all died.
Yeah, and I've met Halsey before, right?
Yes.
So I guess I recognize you as I come off the boat. Unless you're like really covered up and I can't recognize you.
No, you recognize me.
Okay. I guess she'd recognize him and walk towards him.
Oh, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Oh, well, hello there. I didn't know that you were going to be here from the guild. Well, the guild called me in to perform an autopsy on our so-called cadavers.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. I need help. These
What
guys are
kind of help?
weird. Um, I if you can do an autopsy and find any I don't want to lead your investigation, so I won't say anything until you have the chance to do the autopsy. But I need help with that specifically.
You mean cause of death or?
Yes, cause of death.
All right. Well, makes sense. Do you know where I'm supposed to go? Nobody really gave me that much information.
Yeah. Follow me? Yeah.
And I guess I'll grab the lowdown from you, Halsey, as we're walking there, the stuff that you know already.
Yeah, you'll get mostly all of the information. Um, again, I don't want to lead your autopsy, so I'll probably tell you afterwards. After that
Cool.
happens. So like I don't want to put wrongdoing in your mind while you're doing it.
Sounds good. Some sort of facility? Do they have a facility for this?
There is a place where they have been keeping the bodies. There are some um, herbs and oils that are good for keeping bodies preserved for a time. And they have some colder portions of the mine where they kind of do cold storage. Uh, but it's at this point, it's been 3 weeks. These bodies are definitely going to have started decomposing um, a good bit. And it'll be a little bit more difficult to get some info about it, but they do direct the doctor over to where that stuff is.
Uh,
Real CSI shit, I guess.
Is the doctor going solo?
Would probably. I don't think it's typically common to have somebody who's not part of the like doctor's facility or specifically like doing this job. I think potentially if Halsey asked or somebody asked to be there, she might allow it, but I don't think it would be assumed.
Okay.
I would ask to at least stand outside. And I'm wondering, Ark, during this 1 week, um, with like anticipating somebody to do the autopsy, could I have tried to find personal belongings or dug up any medical history on these three people to I want to roll and investigate to make a boost for
Usefka.
Usefka's autopsy.
Sounds good to me. Okay, yeah. Let's definitely do that. Give me. We're looking to overcome a 2 here with that.
4.
All right. Sefka has a boost to apply. For the viewers, in Fate Core, you can use. Actually, no, you're creating an advantage. So, with that, you are creating the aspect background research, we'll call it. And that can be invoked at any time. When you create aspects, you can very often invoke them for free, which will give you a +2 to any roll, or you can re-roll. Sefka, you head down there, and you are almost there when you run into Rhea, who is having a conversation with some of the other workers on the way down there, and they step over and say, "Hey, can you're the doctor, right? I think you're muted."
Check.
Bailey, I think you might be muted.
Oh, I am muted. Sorry. I said, well, I guess I am. And who are you?
I'm Rhea. I'm the manager here. Do you? I was actually wanting to ask if maybe if you had any. Carter doesn't really have anything stronger than smelling salts for the kid, and I was wondering if maybe you had like something that would be good for making this kid up.
What do you mean, kid?
The child, the kid we found in the mines.
Am I there?
Yes, I believe so. You did say you wanted to stand guard outside. Yes.
Yeah. There's a kid in the infirmary who's been unconscious since they found them in the mine.
Why wasn't I called there first? I'm dealing with the dead and not the living.
The kid will probably just sleep. But if you can finish what you're doing, and then you can spend the rest of your time taking a look at that. If you got like I don't know, potion, ointment, rub, something like that for it.
Why don't you tell me, sweetheart? What do you think I should be doing?
I
will.
have a couple ideas, but you can do whatever you need to do. I'll be in the infirmary after I finish talking with my people, and gives
Okay, well,
gives a little bit of a nod. look up and down, and then walks off.
Okay, well, she's an interesting lady. What would you prefer, Halsey? You looking more for information on the decomposed or for the living?
Um, I would prefer autopsy first, just because I don't know how things are going to pan out if you do manage to wake them up.
No, that sounds good, Mr. Investigator.
All right,
Okay,
let's go.
she'll get to it, I guess. She'll take off her. She has like a long duster that's like white, and she has like a nice crisp white shirt underneath and dark pants, so she looks very like professional. Um, and she'll, I guess, open up her case and start taking out some of her tools and putting on some gloves, a mask, I guess, probably sort of reminiscent on one of those old school plague masks where you can stuff like smelling stuff in the beak
Yes.
so you don't have to deal with the nasty dead stuff.
I think Gusevka knows exactly what she's walking into with this. It's just as bad as she thought. These bodies reek something fierce. Way, like, I mean, they smell like decomposed bodies. Not the best smell, y'all. And she kind of gives them a once over, lifts the legs to kind of take a better look, check out some of the injuries. I would say make me a medicine check. See what she picks up. Remember that you do have the aspect in case you want to make use of that.
Okay, cool. And that would add a +2 if I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got +3 to medicine, but I rolled terrible. So that's a 1. So I'll take the +2 and get myself a 3.
Lifting their legs, you notice that they all seem to have. It looks like there's like almost like the portion by like their Achilles tendon. Looks like it's been. It looks basically like ground beef. Like it looks like it's been chopped up. And I would say with that 3, while it's possible that being on the wrong end of some rock could do that to you, for sure, it doesn't seem likely that that's the kind of injury that you could suffer and come away alive. It looks like the kind of injury that would kill you before the time frame that you were given for the deceased.
Is there a difference between the leg injuries, like the fractures that are kind of supposed to be there, and the ankle damage? Like, I'm wondering if the fractures happened first and those have had some healing, and then the ankles happened later. So if there's a 3-week discrepancy.
There's definitely a discrepancy. It looks as though, so you're able to like actually like kind of cut in since they are dead. You're able to cut in, and from what you can tell, you can see it takes some time for bones to heal, but you can kind of see some of the places where like it looks like the process was beginning, and you know that process probably would not have accelerated to that point had it not, if the person was dead. There was healing happening there by the time whatever happened, and the wounds on the legs, hard though it is, you can tell it's more recent than the actual injury themselves. Like,
Can I make any? Can I discern what potentially, if like, what kind of tool would make this kind of mark? Like, it doesn't sound like it's clean.
It
So
is not clean. I don't think that she has an idea of what could have done it. just because of how bad the decomposition is, but you can tell like this is something that happened like after.
Can I check their eyes really fast? Because I know that like they look differently if you've suffered from bleeding out versus like suffocation versus other stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, go for it. I okay.
I
All
have
right.
my educated aspect. I'm not sure if that's useful here.
It is okay. I have to come back to this for a moment.
Okay.
It'll make sense. In the meantime, while Usefka is performing this autopsy, there is a, I imagine, frustrated person right now. Janie, can you introduce who this somewhat frustrated person is?
She's Carrie. She is how tall is she? An average sized woman, and sorry, I don't know why I think that's so funny, but apparently it's a funny average size. Um, Dark brown skin. She's wearing a lab coat and goggles, and she does look a little frustrated. She's got a some kind of tool in one hand that she keeps fidgeting with as she's waiting by the where the ship let off at, and it's probably gone now, so she can't get back on it and just go.
Yeah, yeah. And she's here. And I imagine some of the frustration has to do with the fact that there is a pretty specialized piece of mining equipment that she had designed. Um, she had, I think, been told that one of the big problems in mining is that you don't really know where to start where to start working, because like you can like it's hard for you to just like find what you're looking for by just you know hitting random walls with a pickaxe. And so you had designed this piece of machinery that sort of uh, almost like gives like a sort of like a pulse, that, like a sort of like a kinetic pulse, I guess, is kind of that's kinetic pulse, I guess, in effect. Really, it's just like sort of tapping on areas and causing like some like sort of fractures to pop up to make it easier for them to do some of their mining, um, which seemed to be working well for a while. Uh, until you got the notice maybe a couple weeks ago that there was some sort of major malfunction with this piece of machinery. Now, I think Carrie knows what her work is like and that it should not have been damaged in the way that they're describing, and so had no choice but to come here to take a quick look at it. And you can see that there's a sort of like a fidgety little man, kind of spinning a ring on his finger with what looks like almost like streamlined antler horns that are kind of growing up and back out of his head. And he's just standing there. He's like, um, you, hi. How are you doing today?
Hi. Are you going to take me to my machine?
Yes. I'm Eris. I'm chief of production. I would very much want. It'd be wonderful if we can get your machine working again. Come with me, right this way.
Okay, I'm Carrie.
Hi. Nice to meet you, Carrie. Come with me. So
I just
the
want my machine.
Hmm?
I just want my machine.
Uh,
I've been waiting.
that's perfectly fine. Let's go. And he is walking and talking, probably putting a little bit more emphasis on the talking than the walking right now. And he walks by a certain portion of the mine and then kind of veers off to the east part. And as he does so, he steps in front of Thames and says, I'm taking her deeper in so she can look at that machinery. Okay. You,
Okay.
you are the guard, right? Yes.
Yes.
And he looks at Tamsin and says, like, no one's
Oh!
coming in and out.
Sorry. Me, I'm here. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry. Tamsin was daydreaming and would look up and be like, "Whoa, oh, hi. Hello. Uh yes, I am the guard. How can I help you?"
I need my machine.
The big broken thing?
Why is it broken? It should not have been broken. Who broke it?
Things
I'm-
happen in the mind. It's fine. It's fine.
Tamsin points at their sword and goes, I'm just
It shouldn't be broken. I have to look at it. What
It's
you all do
it's
to
okay.
it?
It's okay. The machine is right this way, and you go do something with yourself. Get out of here.
What else should I be guarding? Or should I just like go take a break?
Layabout. Just
I need a hand. I need a hand.
Sorry,
I
what?
can't believe you all broke my machine.
go. There's a gentleman, blue skin, Rezu. Find him, please. Bring him back here.
Raise you the jeweler?
Yes,
Oh, I didn't know he was in town.
yes. He's somewhere. Please go find
I-
him. Bring him in here. He'll be able to help you.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You're right on it, Chief. And Tamsin wanders off very annoyed.
Now, what was happening when the machine broke? Who broke it?
There was a cave in. It looks like some of the supports came loose, and one of them came down especially hard on the machine. I'm not entirely sure.
Why wasn't it predator protected?
We only bring the machine into areas that are supposed to be well supported. I wasn't.
I trusted you with it.
I looked. Okay, I don't know what happened. Okay, I was on the long walk. I come back. The machine's broken. People are injured. There's a kid, and
That's what happens.
I have horns.
That's what happens. I'm sorry. I'm not judging you. My machine. You don't understand. I can't believe this happened.
Well, we are going to pay you quite handsomely to make whatever repairs you need. You have the full support of the King's Mind behind you. Whatever we can do in order to get back to production at our usual speed, we will do just what we need to do. Right this way. And Eris brings her over to this machine.
Lucy. My machine is named Lucy.
Lucy.
Yes. That's the machine's name.
The machine is named Lucy.
Yes. Why? You don't like that name?
It's a wonderful name. It's a fantastic name. Lucy's a wonderful name. Can you please take a look at Lucy and tell me what's wrong with her?
Yes, step back.
And he turns around and he raises his arms above his head and he's just and you can see that just as he raised his arm, like one of his sleeves got caught on like the edge of his horn. He's like,
We should be more careful with that.
it's new, okay? The guy's supposed to be sending me a thing in like, I don't know, like another
What?
like it's like sort of like a cap or something for the horns. Rezu suggested it. I don't know. Said it'll work out.
Huh. Okay, no, I'm worried about Lucy. I'm not going to worry about your horns. You can take care of that.
I will take care of my horns. Sure. I'll come back and check on you in 15 minutes. Right? Yes.
Yeah. We'll be fine. Lucy and I know each other well.
Oh,
She's going to put the goggles on
okay.
and like lift her sleeves up.
Sure. Okay. I would like, Jamie, I would like for you to roll me. I would like for you to roll me a lore.
Okay.
To see if you can identify, or an investigate. To see if you can investigate, actually, I think makes more sense, to figure out what exactly might be damaged here.
Okay.
So you can expedite the repair process.
Or okay, I got better investigate. So
Mm-hmm.
let me get the dice roller up that I should have already had up, which was it was totally up already. You all just didn't know it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I got mediocre +3.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, investigate is 3.
Okay. So with the investigate, I think that yeah, uh, there's a little bit of moving and shaking happening. Um, shift some things around, and I think Carrie eventually uh, shines a light into the space in the middle of one of the belts, and you can see that there is a very large piece of wood that has been wedged in there.
Somebody broke her. I'm gonna be.
And in fact, if you just pull that piece of wood out, it probably works just fine.
She's going to glare for a second because somebody messed with her Lucy, and then she's going to pull the piece of wood out.
All right. You pull the piece of wood out. Uh, everything looks like it's supposed to be. Do you want to give Lucy want to turn Lucy on? See if she operates the way that she ought to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, apologize to her for whoever hurt her, pat her a little, say, "Okay, Lucy, I'm turning you back on," and I'm gonna flip Lucy switch or whatever, however I turn Lucy on.
All right. Yeah. There is like a set of levers on the side, I think, that gets it started, and there's like a little bit of like a pump action that you need to kind of get the process started, and then once that happens, it goes by itself for a little bit. Um, and it's still right where it was when it was operational. It was right next to a wall, and so it starts just kind of hitting and releasing a sort of like pulse against the wall of this chamber, of this opening that had been cleared out. And Usefka, at roughly the same time, give or take a few seconds, you open the eyes of one of these people. And you can see that inside of the eye socket, there appears to be something that is not an eyeball, something that's coiled up in there.
Uh, does it look organic?
It looks very organic, yes.
What a question.
It is a sort of like jaundiced yellow color. It looks kind of like a very, very large piece of like spaghetti, like way too thick to be spaghetti. Just kind of coiled up in there.
Gross. Okay. Before I touch it, can I do some sort of like investigate or something?
Absolutely, please do.
Okay, that's a 2.
Okay. This is not what's supposed to be there at all.
No, really, Ark?
This does when I say it also does not match anything that you've seen before. Like you're not used to seeing any sort of like parasites that might cause this, or um, like it's like maybe if it were like eggs or something like that, you'd be like, oh, okay, well something got in here and laid something. That's what this is. It does not look like any of that.
Okay. assuming there's some sort of like observation window or something like that, and I can see Halsey out in the hall, sort of thing.
I think that it's in a separate room, but you know that Halsey's out there. I think you can definitely see, if the door is open, you can definitely see his shadow, like, in the doorway.
Okay. She'll at least look over her shoulder to make sure that he's there, because she's kind of weirded out by this. And then I guess she'll take some like very long tweezers and pull it out, see what's going on.
And she sort of pulls this thing out, and it looks like this sort of like pale, limp. Looks like a snake. And kind of lift this snake up and out. And it's just sort of hanging there, in between the tweezers.
Does it have like a head like a snake would, or is it just like a worm, like it has all the same all around situation?
It very, very wormy. And at the end where you would expect there to be a head of some sort, it's like it looks very much like a worm does. If you ever like pick up an earthworm, it's like, hey, I don't really know what end is which. It looks a lot like that.
Okay, I guess she'll put it in a jar with some like formaldehyde, if that's something that exists at this time.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some chemical solutions to keep
Okay.
things preserved.
Oh, quick question. Do recording devices exist in this setting?
No, I don't think there are active recording devices. It would be taking notes.
Okay, she'll be taking autopsy notes then.
Okay.
She'll check the other eye, I guess, see if it's the same thing, and then check all of the cadavers to see if it's the same thing.
Each of them seems to have one of those in its right eye, and the other eye looks like what you would expect for somebody who has died from bleeding out. And also, around this time, I would say, Tamsin, you do find Rezu. Rezu, you were coming out of one of your classes when you are approached by this woman with a rapier at her side.
Yeah, I think he almost double takes when he sees Tasman. Like, Tasman?
Long time no see. I didn't know you were in town.
Yeah, I usually come by. I didn't. You working?
Oh, I mean, not yes, but not like in the mines. I picked up I thought I could pick up some kind of, mercenary work with all the nonsense that's been going on around here, but since it's not anything nefarious, they put me on guard. And then they kicked me off guard duty and told me to come find you for some reason.
Me?
Yeah, I don't know. Something about the machine down in the mines. Some very anxious lady was going to look at it.
He pauses for a minute and shakes it. Okay, I guess I could take a look.
Yeah, I don't know why they wanted you down there. Maybe because it's mining equipment. I don't know. Rocks aren't my thing.
Yeah. Oh, let's go. He grabs his gear, his tools. Follows Tasman.
And would just march back down to where they were.
All right. The path leading to that first has to intersect with the section of the mines where the bodies are being kept. Is there anything else that Usafka would want to do before she leaves the room with these bodies?
Stomach contents, the works and that sorts, blood, have that kind of in labeled vials.
Okay.
And then she'd probably take like a brushing from their clothes, if any of the clothes are there, to see like if they're naked, whatever. But if they have clothes, see if there's any weird fibers or like animal hairs or whatever's, anything that's kind of out of place.
The all three of them were dressed in the same sort of like kind of rough brown linenish gowns. There we go. That the young person in the bed was wearing. Or
And
well,
they're all clean.
they are clean, except for at the lower portions where they bled out. There is some staining from the blood there. I can tell you that does look natural. That's kind of what you expected to see there.
Okay. Well, then she'll pick up the jar and walk into the hallway and be like, Halsey, do you have any idea what this is? Just like totally not concerned as to people being grossed out by something like that. Oh, I can't hear you,
Muted.
Snarf.
Halsey looks at the jar. Do I recognize anything about them?
Halsey doesn't recognize it. Someone does.
Do I get any insight to that now, or just the recognition?
I would say that Halsey looks at that and just knows deep inside that is bad news.
I found it in that eyeball. Well, where the eyeball should be.
That's that's gross. Bad news.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know
dead,
why.
Halsey.
No, the worms are bad news. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why. Like I don't have that information. I just know that they're bad news. I just straight up.
All right. I mean, I think the bad news is that they're dead, and that there's definitely been some tampering with bodies in some regard, and there's definitely a discrepancy between the injuries from the mine and the injuries that killed them. There's a time difference.
Called it. Called it. All right.
It looks like there's been some foul play.
Right. That Ray is definitely keeping something. I don't even bother trying to read into the manager, Eris. I just assume he's talking shit. All right. I got the
You think that
information
tall
that
drink
I
of water has something to do with this?
yes. Yes. I don't know if they're doing it to protect something or if they're doing it out of greed. I'm leaning more towards the former than not. So I don't get the feeling the greed is in their repertoire. But it's just they're definitely not being straight.
Well, let's just hope that they're not straight. Let's continue on to the infirmary.
All right.
At this point, almost the five of you are intersecting. After Carrie, after seeing that the machine is working just fine, you can turn it off, and no one's there, so you gotta head out to find where people are.
I'm gonna get the murder weapon, the attempted murder weapon, and bring it out with me.
With essentially a wooden stake in hand, stalk out down this corridor that had been hewn through the rock. And as you come to this intersection, you can see that Rezu is there in front of you with Tamsin at their side.
Someone tried to kill Lucy.
Harry.
Who?
Lucy.
Tamsin left before you gave the machine a name.
Okay, now I'm suspicious. Why are you here, Kara?
Oh,
Because
the machine. I told you.
someone tried to kill Lucy.
Is Lucy
The machine.
machine?
Lucy is the machine. And I hold up the stake.
Sure. All right.
This
And
one of yours?
I think roughly at this time is when Yosefka and Halsey walk down the hall to see a woman brandishing a stake.
Sorry, a branching snake?
Brandishing
a stake.
I thought you said a branching snake, and I was like, more weird word snakes.
Someone jammed this into the heart of Lucy.
I think listen, I haven't been super up on what's been going on mechanically down in these mines, but from what I've heard from the miners, I think it's just that the ceiling collapsed and that's part of the ceiling. And it fell on
Excuse me, is there a
Lucy.
medical emergency here?
No, I fixed
No, who are you?
Thank
Oh wait.
you. You're late.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Tamsin!
I know you. Hey. What? No, yeah, no, there's nobody. We're good.
Okay, Lucy got stabbed and she's fine.
Yes, I know my machines.
Machine. It's a machine, it's not a person.
Oh.
I know. I love my machines. They're mine. I built them. I made them. And this was jammed in her. It could not have fallen there. It was jammed in there.
Sabotage?
Who would
And I
choose
think
Saboteurs.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think at
Sabotage.
this moment is when all of you hear sort of a groan and a creak, and then sort of like the low kind of crash and tumble of rock giving way. Further down the corridor where Lucy was. And
Carrie's
then,
sort of
and shortly afterward, you hear sort of this loud something between a click and a gulp, and it just sounds like
What is it?
Tamsin's got rapier out immediately, like before that even starts happening.
Carrie's trying to get back to Lucy.
You could go get him, darling. She's just gonna stand back a little bit. Does it sound
Yeah.
like human? Like somebody choking?
it's hard to tell what it is.
Is it in the direction that Carrie's running to?
It is in the direction that Carrie's running to.
Wait,
I'm
do
gonna
you,
push
do you have any
Tamsin in front
weapons?
of me.
Wait, Carrie, does she have weapons? And I would look at Reizu.
The stake?
Oh God! And then Tamsin's just gonna chase her.
Yeah, I'm booking it after Carrie.
Is this deeper into the mine or towards the entrance?
Deeper into the mine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Nobody in this group's good at making good decisions.
Is Reizu hanging back a little bit or running up?
Yeah, he's hesitating to walk further into this mine.
Why don't you and I promenade our way down there and we'll see what's going on?
Not the promenade.
She'll offer her hand to you.
And he makes one last look towards the entrance.
I'm sorry.
Reizu didn't even know why he was called down here.
And he'll resign himself to walk.
I'm sorry.
Does he reject Usefka's hand?
Yeah, no, he'll take it.
Okay, cool.
Because our biggest worry is rejecting hand holding.
I mean, for Usefka right now, yes.
And I think that's where we're going to wrap things up. As 5 people make their way towards the sound at various speeds, differing levels of enthusiasm for the trip that they're making. But before we go, as that crash happens, somewhere else, deeper, or less deep, I should say, in the mine, a young person in a brown robe sits up. Not much way to go the way that they were propped up. They turn and they look at the small figure of Carter that has its back to them. Slowly, silently, slips off the bed onto two bare feet, toenails that extend over tips of their toes, and they take one step, then another, and then another. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined us tonight for the premiere of Chimeriad.
Ah!
Y'all are gonna die. Okay.
No, listen, I didn't put any points in, what is it, physique at all.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say smarts.
No, I actually have a couple of points in smarts, but nothing in physique. We are all brains, no brawn, but we love to fight.
Oh my. All right.
Sorry for ruining your ominous 5 arc.
No. This is sometimes bad choices are way more ominous than any horror movie.
You got to break the tension and just acknowledge your bad decision.
Absolutely. But a good decision was you all joining us tonight. I want to say thank you to everybody who's here in chat. I want to say thank you to the wonderful people playing with us. We're going to go in. Let's go in reverse order. Let's start with, who'd we end with? We ended with Snarf, yes? Snarf, why don't you give us an introduction, tell everybody quickly where they can find you.
I'm Solid Snarf. No space between the Solid and Snarf. You can find me everywhere: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Yeah, and thank you for having me. It was fun.
Thank you. Tori?
Hi, I'm Tori. You can find me on the internet everywhere as that nerd Tori, including Twitter and here on Twitch. I promise I'll start streaming again someday, some point. And aside from here, you can catch me at the end of the month on a charity one shot of of basically just a bunch of crazy little kobolds on I can't remember the name of the server. It's Dax's server if anybody knows Dax. But it'll be fun. And I'll be here playing Tamsin.
Fantastic. Jamie?
Hi, I'm Janie at JaniePot7575 on the different websites that I can't remember anymore. And I play games. I sometimes stream stuff, and I'm here in games and other places in games, and I'm just going to stop because I'm just going to keep rambling.
No problem. I mean, I'm cool if you all ramble about yourselves. I'm just saying. Bailey?
Bailey, you can find me on Twitter under SkepsisRe. I'll probably drop my actual link in the channel, like the chat, so people can see it. I'm a TTRPG writer. I work for a company called Action Fiction, so if you want to check out their stuff, that's going to be pretty cool too. Yeah, you can find them at Action Fiction most places also. Thanks for coming in and seeing my weird gal.
I am very happy to have had you. And right, Sphinx, tell us a little bit about yourself and give us an outro. Let the people know where they can find you.
What's going on? I'm Sphinx or Ryan. When I'm not lurking in people's channels, you can usually find me on Twitter at SphinxRL.
All right. Thank you very much. I also want to say thank you so much to Lynx for doing stream production stuff. Foxy, Sir Heck a lot, all the cool people over on Neon Lights. I want to say thank you so much to them as well for helping everything get started. It's been a little bit of a journey to get here, but I'm glad we got started. We will be back here in 2 weeks to find out what the sounds are, find out what's up with the kiddo, and all that good stuff. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm going to be a little bit bold and speak for everybody to say we had a blast. Looking forward to seeing you again. Take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye.